Hello everyone, my name is Pascal Clarysse and I'm going to talk about the do's and don'ts of influencer marketing, as this is something I've been involved in doing firsthand for companies like Seriously and Ubisoft, for example. So, diving in, I think it's safe to assume that everyone here is familiar with YouTube's popularity, so I won't start this presentation with a barrage of numbers. I will rather keep this intro brief, focusing on one single insight from a Variety survey run in 2014 and which acted as the eye-opening moment for me. So as you can see, for the 17-24 demographic, the teenagers, YouTube stars are, so to speak, bigger than their Hollywood counterparts or their music counterparts. The top 5 most popular stars among teens are all YouTubers. This crystallized the statements that influencer marketing pioneer Brendan Gahan has been making all around for a few years. For teenagers today, YouTube stars are the only stars. Another interesting insight from YouTube is that according to eMarketer, it leads all platforms when it comes to discoverability and social conversion in sales. Naturally, with such a commanding influence attached to their persona, YouTube stars have increased the level of professionalism, and from artist managers to agents, and including, of course, the rise of MCNs or multi-channel networks such as Machinima, Fullscreen, and whatnot, there is now a complete ecosystem built around top YouTube creators. So, in a nutshell, influencer marketing consists of activating people who are perceived as an authority within their sphere for endorsements of your brand or game through their own media. On YouTube, it consists of sponsoring talent creators to make videos of your game or brand. And the first one who actually did that, it was Brendan Gahan paying Smosh in 2006, so 10 years ago already. You can approach them through their agents, their MCN, or sometimes indirect. And the trend is actually going outside of YouTube at the moment, since you see some sponsored content deals happen with hot talent on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitch, or even Nico Nico in Japan. So, most YouTuber stars are digital natives. A lot of them have an affinity to games, which means they play them in their leisure time or on screen. In fact, so-called Let's Players represent one of the most powerful segments of YouTube, and Minecraft, a video game, is the most searched keyword term across the entire platform, so not just in games. It was only a natural fit for games to compete with brands for sponsored placements of their product in YouTubers' content, and the first reports of that being successful paid on art were around 2011, 2013. Thomas was a lone developer, Mike Blithell, notoriously said on a panel, "A 20-minute video changed my life." That's the reality. The video happened to be a What the Fuck Is from Total Biscuit, a channel with millions of subscribers. Up until 2014, it was mostly limited to PC and console, and I would say it's the launch of Best Fiends by Seriously in October of that year that represented a groundbreaking turn for mobile gaming. After launching Angry Birds Space and Angry Birds Star Wars for Rovio, Phil Hickey, that big guy over there, I'd enjoyed quite a free ride when it comes to YouTubers, because a lot of them were creating content for Angry Birds because it was a hot brand. But through that, he could witness the power of the platform, and as he joined Seriously as head of marketing, he was dead set to make YouTube the pillar of his growth strategy. To launch Best Fiends with a bang, he convinced PewDiePie to partner up. PewDiePie, aka Felix Kjellberg up there, is the biggest independent YouTuber in the world with over 38 million subscribers at the time of the deal, 48 million today. He pretty much incarnates the YouTube gamer phenomenon. And before Best Fiends, he had only made one video about a mobile game. It was Flappy Bird. He was jumping on that fad. And by the way, on the day he did the video, Flappy Bird went back to #1 overall app. So this shows you the effect. And yeah, the first wave of PewDiePie videos, paid videos for Best Fiends, went great. So Seriously themselves, I'm wondering if it's not stuck over here. Should I press on that? Yeah. So seriously themselves doubled down and quadrupled down on their YouTube strategy, but many other publishers took notice. And meanwhile, the YouTube ecosystem itself is evolving at a rapid pace, with demand for tier 1 influencers always on the rise, and their price go up, their availability go down, and as you can see, the top YouTubers now even have their own mobile games around their character or persona, like PewDiePie, Miranda Sings, and soon KSI. The entry ticket to this world is thus expensive, and that's why it's crucial to make the right bet. Now, that's why I'm going to go through first a couple of case studies that I think are the best in class, starting with Best Fiends, because they're the pioneers of the field. And since they have campaigns pretty much every month, I'd focus on my two favorites subjectively. The first one is Raced Against Slime. After their initial sponsored vlog with PewDiePie, basically seriously organized a more ambitious Christmas campaign that was pitting PewDiePie against 4 other prominent YouTubers, such as Markiplier, for example, in a week-long tournament which would see the winner donate $50,000 to the charity of his choice. So they had YouTubers competing with one another, and this went much better than a Let's Play video. Actually, because it was all concurrent, Best Fiends climbed up the charts and became trending in search field. So 1 year later, Phil Hickey and his team designed a sequel to Race Against Slime. In that one, they went a step bigger and made it a full 360 campaign. YouTubers were organized in teams, with PewDiePie and his entourage playing together against Markipliers and his buddy, KSI and F2 freestylers for UK, and more. And the winner of that campaign would donate to the charity of his choice, but also would be announced on the show from Ellen DeGeneres on television, as she was doubling the prize pool and announcing the winners on Twitter. Now, what's more interesting is that inside the game, you could yourself, as one of the millions of people playing Best Fiends, choose which charity and which YouTube team you were rooting for and donating the slugs that you were defeating that week to that team. So that's where it became completely 360, with game engagement matching the YouTuber campaign. Actually, Andrew Stalbor wrote in a Medium post that they broke their daily active records, their daily active users record on that day. And they also had, with 2.1 million daily actives, and it was, you can see that mark on the right. And it was also their best day in terms of download, with 325,000 downloads in one day. Now, of course, not all of us have access to TV show hosts, obviously, which is why the second campaign I picked up is the Mobile Treasure Hunt, which, there you go, which I think is interesting, especially because it's centered around the game itself. So in this campaign, you have the logos of 13 prominent YouTubers that are hidden at various spots inside the game. And if you find them all, you win an exclusive Fiend character, a ton of soft currency. All the YouTubers hidden inside the game went live with a video hinting at where you could find their sticker inside the game, and they went live on the same day. What's interesting about going live on the same day is that it had a burst effect, which means the game went up the charts in several countries, and it also actually, including #1 in France, it also, and that's maybe because most people who watch YouTube videos tend to go to the search field of the App Store and type, rather than tap on a link, like you would do if you see a TV commercial for a video game. Best Fiends became also a trending search around the world on the App Store search, and it also became a trending hashtag on Twitter. So that's a picture of what happens when you're trending in App Store search. So that's about it from Best Fiends. Now we'll move on to Social Point, When launching World Chef, Barcelona Outfit Social Point also used a mix of traditional data-driven UA and influencer marketing to cut through the noise and build themselves what some would call a trampoline launch. Their campaign deserves highlight because they took great care in working with the right talent. So when you don't have a casual game that can become a brand and work with a lot of type of demographics, I think that's an important point. They had a fitting theme and in demographic match. So the selected YouTubers were known, for example, to be culinary savvy, or were prone to talk about food at the very least, like Rosanna Pansino, for example. World Chef stayed within the top 10 overall install charts for weeks on both Apple App Store and Google Play when it came out. The YouTuber campaigns were not solely responsible for this, but they certainly contributed a lot, according to Alba Rodriguez and Jacob Kruger from Social Point. Last case study before we go into the pitfalls, and it's another angle actually from Flare Games that they adopted for Dawn of Steel. And what I liked about it is that they mixed influencer marketing with user-generated content, in the sense that their game production team integrated both Replay Kit on iOS and the YouTube Gaming API on Android. This to enable players to share the replay of their in-game battles to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter when they felt it was cool to do so. Then, the marketing team hooked up a deal with powerful gaming YouTuber Masterov, or Masterov, depending on where country you come from, you might pronounce it differently, to make a video that was not only showcasing the game, but also showcasing the sharing mechanic of the game and basically launching a contest between viewers and players to use that mechanic. And actually Google liked the stunt so much that they used Flare Games and Dawn of Steel as a poster case study to demonstrate YouTube Gaming API during the live stream stage presentation at the latest Google I/O. Another interesting note is that Flare Games, and for those who want to negotiate the fees down, Flare Games agreed with Masterov to boost his exposure by adding a few seconds of his video footage inside the 15-second and 13-second commercial clips that they run for the games across a multitude of platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. That's to boost his motivation and exposure, but interestingly, that video outperformed all other video material they used by 6 to 10x in terms of conversion rate. And Flare Games recently has been toying with Snapchat, but that's probably for another presentation because Snapchat is a topic in its own. It's about to blow up as well. Now let's analyze the pitfalls and traps that they avoided, all these good campaigns. Demographics mismatched. So you have to look beyond the big numbers. It's not just about subscriber rates. Sometimes a talent with 1 million subscribers taking all the time about topics that are close in affinity from your game theme will land much better results than going with the most massive YouTubers that talk about completely different subject matters and maybe to a completely different audience. In the worst case scenario, a mismatch can lead to lack of authenticity. And in this event, everybody loses. Game publisher is disappointed about the conversion rate. Viewers feel like the YouTuber is a sellout, which leads said YouTuber to lose credibility in front of the audience. The lack of creative angle is the second pitfall. It can make you look bad as well. For example, Let's Play sessions are great, but they're not the alpha and omega of the space. And for many mobile games, it doesn't fit, because at the end of the day, YouTube is a visual channel. So unless your game has the graphics to be a visual spectacle, you need to think about a different angle. And it's sometimes as important as the talent you select. I went a bit too fast. Now, although I said earlier that you should look beyond the big numbers, this doesn't mean you should ignore the numbers entirely. At the end of the day, whether by teaming up with top-tier creators or by piling up the number of talents attached to a campaign, you should always look for scale. This activity doesn't work like traditional CPI driven. Doing something with a YouTuber who has 10K subscribers will not mathematically lead to 1% of the impact you would have with 1 million subscribers. It's much less than this. It's actually significant, it's a blip on the radar, because past a certain critical mass, there is an unquantifiable stardom status attached to the YouTuber. The more famous, the more impact. There is a minimum entry price to this poker table, and I would put the threshold nowadays at 50, 60K approximately to yield a meaningful campaign. Excessive control is another pitfall, or not giving enough freedom to the talent when it comes to the execution. You're not placing real-time orders through an algorithm here. You're dealing with human beings every step of the way. And this means social skills like empathy and respect are part of the equation. Do not write their script. A deadline too tight goes a little bit in the same direction. It's not that you want to exercise control, but deadline puts pressure, and good things take time, great things even more so. So if you only give them a short time, you can expect a natural drop in quality. Also, the more popular a YouTuber is, the busier he or she is. They're managing a tight schedule, and you should keep this in mind. 45 to 60 days ahead of expected lifetime is a good moment to contact them. Now, finally, and this is maybe the most important point when talking about YouTube with data-driven UA people, you shouldn't focus on the wrong KPIs. The rookie mistake, of course, is to focus on the subscriber count. This is ill-advised because, well, some YouTubers were blowing up in 2012 and were considered stars. They amassed millions of subscribers a couple of years back. It doesn't mean they're hot today. It's like in music and cinema. The ball moves fast, and the amount of subscribers is not going to tell you that, which is why it's much more important to focus on the average view count over the last 30 to 60 days. I prefer 30, some people look at 60, but over the last 30 days you should see how fast does this YouTuber go to 100,000 or to 1 million viewers. Is it systematic, or is it just one video out of 10, the one that got viral? That's what you should pay attention to. And the other thing I need to say about KPIs is that compared to traditional data-driven channels, it's very difficult to collect precise data about influencer campaigns. Like we established before, most people don't tap on the link in the description and tend to go straight for the App Store and type in search. Obviously, they are tracked within the organic cohort for that day, which complicates the job of your data scientists. That doesn't mean the impact can't be tracked at all. It's like some of you probably have already tried to observe the effect of an Apple featuring for you. You can do it more or less the same by doing it through a reduction, excluding your organics, the campaigns you know you paid that day, and just try to exclude that one, especially if you run that first campaign in isolation because you want to get an idea of the effects. Last but not least, there is a company called Profit that has a value-driven marketing platform, and that can help a lot with this, because basically they allow you to place virtual rewards or IAPs inside the deep links. If you have different links with different rewards to give to the YouTubers, the YouTuber not only has an incentive to drive down to the description to make people click, but people have an incentive to click on it. And so it helps with your conversion, but more interestingly, if you are launching 5, 10 YouTubers within the same day, to know which one brought you into the top 10 overall chart and to know which one had the most impact is even trickier, and that is where Profit helps. Because if you have those deep links and everybody is basically playing the same game under the same rules, then if one YouTuber beats the others by 1,000 to 100 everyone, he had the most impact. And it doesn't really matter to you whether you had down to the comma the data for that. It just matters that you get the right impression of his impact. So that's it for me. I have run overboard by 1 minute, so I'm not sure if we even have time for questions. If we don't, you can find me over there for the next few minutes or on a branding panel in about 1 hour on this same stage.